today, Alex, our Assistant Director of Services, joins us to talk about the relationship between MSPs and their business. I was hoping, for people who may not know, could you give us a real quick overview of what an MSP is?
Yeah, absolutely. MSP is short for managed service provider. The best way to think about it is outsource IT, used to either supplement your current staff or to augment your staff. Um, they will provide usually tools to manage and secure your environment, as well as knowledge of industries and stuff like that.
Perfect. When you say outsourced, that is a scary word. And before we had this podcast, you and I talked a little bit about this big misconception of MSPs just coming in and replacing your IT team. Is that true?
It can be, but normally not.
Okay.
Normally, we are used to supplement and help an IT staff take on some of the low-hanging fruit or be an escalation point or just provide the tools. Sometimes you just provide the tools to connect in and stuff like that. So I mean, it absolutely could be, we could replace, but realistically, it's normally we are here to supplement you.
For sure. That's supplement and support, really. I imagine if you have a smaller business, that would be a time that you would replace.
It comes down to the business. There's definitely benefits of having your in-house IT staff. We see great relationships built with people when they keep their staff. We also understand that financially sometimes it's hard, or hard to even hire. So sometimes you'll
Hmm.
keep one and have us replace the next couple bodies instead of hiring them in, is usually what we'll see. Is we just kind of add into your staff instead of having a staff of two, you have a staff of 42 because an MSP brings in, their staff, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that relationship,
Yeah.
as you have this MSP as a supplement. So, we do have other podcasts on what to look for when choosing an MSP. So, instead, you've chosen your MSP. How can businesses build that strong relationship and have a really long-term partnership?
Yeah. The hardest thing if you have your current IT staff or are non-technical is understanding that it may not be perfect. Like your environment may not be perfect. And the first tip I can give you is take the ego out. I mean, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You can do your best to design, but there may be things that we may give recommendations for as an MSP. We see lots of environments in a lot of different industries with a lot of different compliances. So we can help you navigate some of that stuff. So the first tip to making a successful relationship is just knowing it may not be perfect at its state. Second thing to know is IT costs money. It's hard. It's a hard thing to quantify, but I think now as you see the subscription world increasing its footprint, you're starting to see that IT with, Office 365 being a subscription and stuff like that, it's starting to become a little bit more mainstream in the business world, and you're starting to see that in fact the IT world. But no, it's going to cost a little bit of money to get your environment to someplace where you're happy with and helps your business succeed and grow. The key is thinking of growth. No business wants to stay stagnant. Let's just
Yeah.
be honest. So the goal is for everybody to help you push forward, and that's what we're going to do. So, like I said, first thing, know that it might not be perfect day one. Second thing, know it's going to cost a little bit of money. Third thing is just being open and honest with each other. Open dialogue will go a long way for a successful relationship because we'll see stuff, you see stuff, and the more we work together, the further we'll propel the relationship.
So, following that kind of communication thread, how do you and your team, how do you tailor different needs of businesses when it comes to communication and when it comes to building trust with that business and different industries?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Um, right off the bat, industries, your healthcare and your banking both have different compliances. They still have overarching security, but they have different bodies that they report to for compliance and stuff like that. So first thing off the bat is knowing what compliance they're required to hold, helps us already start the relationship with that individual. Um, the next thing is to just be have a conversation right off the bat. Hey, here's who we are. How do you want to be communicated to? Do you like email? Do you like phone calls? Do you like whatever, carrier pigeon, whatever you prefer to have? We can help accommodate so that you get the kind of communications you need to be informed and everything like that. I think that's what really starts it off is, trying to have that relationship and that call right away in those beginning 30 to 90 days to really get off the ground correctly. So then that propels the relationship forward because you know us, we know you, and we know how to now communicate with each other. And then everything else just becomes you talk to the same people over and over, that relationship builds organically off of that because you get to know them, they get to know you, you get to start to build your shorthand. We create more notes so we understand your environment, and then our knowledge of each other grows, and then that just propels forward of giving you the best level of support.
To kind of wrap it all up here at the end, my last question, and then I'll open it up to anything else you want to share. What level of knowledge would I need to communicate and work with my MSP, both from not having internal and having internal?
Sure. Let's start with not having internal
Yeah.
support. Um, you know what it takes you to do your job. You might be the best accountant if you're not technical in making these decisions. You may own the business that we'd be helping you support. You know what your employees are doing, like needing to use an accounting software, needing to use a manufacturer software, a drawing software. If you can speak to what their day-to-day responsibilities are, you'd be amazed how much that helps us just understand what will be loving. You don't need to know the nuts and bolts and where they click and where they turn the knobs or anything like that. If you can give us a base overview of what's going on and what they need to do to be successful, we can help fill in the pieces. I think that's the best advice I can give. You don't need to be technical. You just need to be able to advocate on behalf of your staff, and what they have. Now, for our technical folks, you don't need to know everything. The best thing is to be comfortable with what you know and what you don't know, and let us help you supplement the knowledge that you don't know. Say, hey, I really know the PC server side, but I don't know networking. That's perfect. That's where your MSP can come in, overhaul, look at your network and be like, we will supplement you here. You take what you know very well. We'll take over the network and we'll work together. That's that partnership. That's that relationship. So I think, is there a silver bullet or what they need to know? No, I think it's know what you know, be able to advocate, and you'll be successful because that just helps your MSP know what they need to fill in.
Mhm. Any other thoughts about when it comes to really building a quality relationship with your MSP and businesses?
Yeah, if you don't know the answer, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Just ask. You'd be amazed how many people
Yeah.
are afraid to ask or don't quite understand what we're saying. Um, we can rephrase stuff. We can change our approach and how we present data to you. Make it graphical, make it, in writing, demonstrate it. Like there's a lot of different ways to present data so everybody understands it. The most important thing is make sure you understand at some level what's going on. You might not know the nuts and bolts of what's going on, but as long as you know that, oh, they are doing our network, okay, at least you know that, and then we can go like, what are you exactly doing? Well, then we can kind of fill in the blanks that like there's 3 layers and this or that, or like that's how we have everything set up for you, or whatever it ends up being that you have in your environment. I think the most important thing is just making sure you understand and you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, say something. Um, Stop us, stop whoever your MSP is, and ask the question. And then if you're comfortable, go forward. And then as you get more comfortable with them, you learn to trust them with still having the knowledge of what's going on. So therefore you're comfortable with the decisions, but you also know that they have your best interest in mind. And that's where that partnership really blossoms. The communication, the knowledge, and knowing what you need to do and making sure we understand what you need to do.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it was great. I appreciate you having me on.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you would like to get in touch with anyone on this podcast, please reach out to us at info@cit-net.com or head out to our website, cit-net.com/podcast. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode.